All right, hello 14ers. Welcome back to Ministry Revealed. It is April 4th, 2019, and the Passover, the one I'm following anyways, based on the full moon, new moon, has come to an end a little over an hour ago here in Calgary, Alberta, up in Canada, in the what is it, mountain time zone, Mountain Standard Time. So we're looking for this 40-day sign, all right? We're going to go into a few things here. I'm going to show you some incredible connections that we're still looking at. Remember, our focus is the peace deal is the May 14th, all right? And there wasn't an obvious 40-day sign that would have just passed. And when is that 40 days? I just don't know. All right, it seemed to make the most sense in my understanding that it would have been 40 days before Israel would be destroyed. All right, just made sense to me. But you know what? Actually, it makes me think of something. Let me show you something here in Luke, which I touched on a couple videos ago in Luke 21. When I was showing that this is the 40-day time frame from Luke's discourse 21 verse 12, casting you into prisons, and some of you shall be put to death. These things are all within a 40-day time frame, including Jerusalem compassed with armies. But remember in that previous video, see I've got this highlighted in green? I've been curious as to why it says, and when let's see. And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. It is near, all right? And I say that because the bride isn't going to see that destruction. And we know that Israel isn't going to celebrate her 71st birthday. So it seems to make sense that would say that that's when the bride goes. When we look at things like we did in Genesis 7, when we look at the story of the ark, we could see there's also a group through Noah, right, and his family that are put into the ark, gone into heaven, before the 40 days begins. And then the dove is sent out, and then we know there's a group that goes as well. What do we have for an exact, precise day of it? I don't know. We're trying to figure out where these 40 days are. We know that in Luke 11, the Lord tells us that the Son of Man will be as Jonah was. So are we expecting literally Jesus to be standing on the Mount of Olives or something in Israel and declaring it? I mean, that just doesn't seem right. I mean, in the past, it was Ezekiel. In the future, is it going to be the Spirit of the Lord on somebody? Is it? I think it's going to be obvious when it happens. All right? It's going to be obvious. And so in today's video, we're going to touch a little bit on that. But the big thing I want to show you are these connections to Israel and their 71st birthday. All right? And we're going to show you some things to Trump. Because as we were talking about for a few months now, and in the last video as well, we know that Trump is the judgment. All right? We were talking about it here. And as Cyrus's reign ended after 3 years, or in his third year, from that reign with the declaration of Jerusalem and so forth, what happened is his reign ended in his third year. Sorry, give me a second. His reign ended in his third year, and he listened to traitors, and that's when he lost his reign. That's when he lost his throne in his third year. Okay? And I'm going to show you that a little bit again, not from this clip, but a clip that I used for this, for the last video I did. And then today, I had the subscriber, you guys have seen him for a while, real name, okay, you guys have seen him for a while. He puts a comment, I never got a response on what he was getting at yet, but he puts a comment, Trump listened to the traitors. And that was part of this video, when you're going to see in the clip that
Trump listening to traitors is going to be what gets him kicked out, right? Is going to be what ends up losing his throne. Okay, his presidency is going to be cut short in his first term. We've been saying that for many, many, many months now. Oh, and by the way, look at that. You guys got us to 2,000 subscribers. Thank you very much. Okay, so can we show something that outside of this peace deal, we know it's this peace deal that's going to bring the destruction, but I wanted to see, and when I saw that comment from the subscriber, the first thing that came to my mind was something many of us have heard of before, an old interview regarding a nation down south, all right, in South America. I'm going to show you that clip as well and show you that it's at least, it's over 10 years old, maybe closer to 15 years old, and spoke about this time that we're in right now. I'm going to play that video clip for you, and for Trump to be doing what he's doing would mean that either he willingly sold out to the traders, or he made a deal, if you will, with the traders because of the enemies that are down there. Okay? And I'm going to show you these connections to Israel. I believe also why their elections are next week, right? Israel's having their elections on April 9th. They usually have them every 4 years in November. And this year it just so happened to be that it's on April 9th. I'll show you why I believe that is. I'm going to show you the direct calculation. It's the most obvious thing. And then I'm going to show you something that one of our brothers, Mark, sent. Excuse me, he sent me an email this evening, earlier this evening I think it was, or late this afternoon. And I hadn't seen it yet. And it came out on Passover, on our full moon Passover, right? April 3rd, 4th. Which, by the way, thanks guys, a lot of you guys were asking. Yes, we did celebrate it, and I had a little bit of the lamb blood from the meat that we bought and put it on the posts and on the lintel, and you know, we did that. We were wearing our shoes, like it said. You know, it says to carry, to have your staff in your hand. Well, of course, it's not so much a walking stick now as it is car keys. So I had my car keys in my pocket, and yeah, it was just, you know, it was just, are we doing everything properly? No, not even the Jews are, to be honest with you. We can show you some things, but I'm not going to get into, that's not what I want to get into. But, you know, is it all being done properly? Well, no, but the reason we're doing it is just to show our love for the Lord, right? And the appreciation and love for what the Lord did for us, and that's why we did it, all right? No leaven. We took all the bread out of our house, the breadcrumbs, any packages we had, and took it out and just bought flatbread, you know, for wraps and stuff like that. And we're not going to have it for a week. You know, we did this last year as well. So yeah, just wanted to let you guys know that we did do it. We celebrated, like I said, the 3rd to the 4th evening today, and we had the lamb and everything started. We started preparing it at sundown and had a late dinner yesterday because sundown here was about 8:15 in the evening, so we had a late dinner by the time everything was said and done. But I'm going to show you this article that came out on the 3rd and 4th, right? On the 3rd over there and on the 4th here, and how it relates to precisely this time frame that we're talking about. And wait till you see this language being used by all these papers. I'm going to bring up 3 of them for you that are all talking this same language. It is so interesting. All right? It's very telling to where we're at right now. So let's go back to this. Let's look at this for a second. Remember, Trump has already done some major things for Israel that no other president has done in history. We know that Benjamin Netanyahu and the president have been friends for like 40 years. All right? They've both known Jared Kushner's parents before Kushner was born. All right? And he's 38 years old. So these guys are friends, and they go back a long time. And one of the reasons, I believe, for moving the embassy, for moving the elections forward, a lot of people say, oh, it's because of the trials and stuff going on with Netanyahu. That might be a little part of it, but in the spiritual sense and what's coming, no, that's not what it is. We're going to show you what it is. Because everything Trump has been working on in regards to Israel has been for fulfilling prophecy. Remember, Trump is the judgment.
Trump is going to bring in the end time judgment on the whole earth. That's what Trump is. He is the judgment. Remember December 6th, 2017, he declares that they recognize Jerusalem, the first nation to finally ever recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. All right? The UN went into a hissy fit and everything, okay? Then, at that same time, they ordered plans to relocate the U.S. Embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And remember, a lot of the commentary on this was that, oh, it's going to take 2 to 3 years. They're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars building this big fancy new building. And then what happened? Within a couple months or within a month or something like that, Mike Pence comes out, I think in January, and he says, no, we're doing a renovation and we're going to have the embassy open up and running by May 14th, 2018. On Israel's 70th anniversary, they open the embassy in Israel on May 14th, 2018, the beginning of the 70th year. All right? We are now at the tail end, give or take like a month and 10 days. All right? 40-ish days away from Israel's 71st birthday. So we should start to see some things going on, right? We should start to see some heavier wording, and there should be some activity taking place here, because there's a reason they move their elections up. There's Cyrus in his third year, Trump being called Cyrus. We've been showing that we know it's going to begin this year. The tribulation is about to begin. The bride is about to go. It's going to happen this year. It is about to happen here this spring. Even if it begins right on the 71st, right on that day. Trump may move it up a day, and you'll see why, because of what they're calling it. All right? But do I think now, no, as I study this further, do I think that Trump is going to make the declaration, say, you have their elections here. Is he going to maybe declare it this week or somewhere in here? I don't believe so. Based on the evidence we have about him, he is going to hold off the presenting of the peace plan, the laying out of the peace plan. He's going to wait till May 14th. All right? He's going to wait till May 14th. You'll see in the articles they'll say May 15th. That's because of where we are, right? Other side of the world to here. So May 14th is when he's going to declare it. And I'm going to show you, based on their elections, that that's precisely the cycle they want. All right? So let's get started here, and let's show you these things that we're talking about. Give me a second. All right? I couldn't see my time. I want to make sure I could see my time. All right. So let's get started. Let's go to this one first. This is part of a video we were showing in the last one, but I'm going right to the source again here with Rise. All right? Listen to what he says again about Cyrus and Trump.
State. Here is the symbol of Israel.
So you think Trump is like a Cyrus who's going to...
It could be, but he can fail.
Right.
Trump, we say, Cyrus was on his throne only 3 years.
Yeah.
He listened to all the traitors, so Trump can thrown out from his chair if he will put
It's because I had all these things on pause for a while. Oh, there we go. There, I paused it through that last one. Here, let's listen to this.
If he will put a program against the Bible, Trump say I have a program and so on.
The peace program.
Against the Bible. And if Trump will put it on the table, he will very soon must leave his chair.
Right, you mean dividing Jerusalem?
Yes, yes. This is anti-Jewish,
Yeah,
this is anti-Bible.
Okay, so again, I don't think he's going to divide Jerusalem.
right? We saw that declaration. I just showed you this declaration. He's not dividing Jerusalem. He just made a declaration just over, a year and a bit ago, that Jerusalem belongs to Israel. So they're not going to divide Jerusalem, but a lot of times when they're saying Jerusalem, sometimes, they might be talking the land of Israel. And getting this peace deal done, regardless of what land they're going to cut up and give up, that is against the Lord. That is against the scriptures. And that is going to bring in the end times. Okay? So we know this. What did he say? If he listens, if he does what Cyrus did, and everybody's claiming him as a Cyrus, if he is a Cyrus type character, and Cyrus in his third year lost his throne, what would Trump then have to do to lose his throne? Well, of course, when he does that peace deal, right? We've already known, we've been showing here for months and months and months and months and months that Trump is not going to finish his first term. And now we get more information about this with Cyrus. So he said if he listens to traitors, well, what traitors would he listen to? Because this traitors piece wouldn't have to do with listening about doing the peace deal. Trump's been working on this peace deal behind the scenes, talking with the characters for over 35 years. So then what is it? What is it, right? Let me show you something next. Remember this guy? Maybe you guys have seen him before. This guy's name is Aaron Russo. You'll see this video is from 2012, but it's much older than that. All right? You're going to see, because I'm going to show you when this guy died, but I'm going to show you something. Remember, when I saw this guy's comment, I thought right away, when I read this comment, my first thought on this comment was when I remembered speaking to my wife about this guy a couple months ago, talking to my wife about it. And I was saying, even within the last month and a bit, because when all this stuff started going on with Venezuela, and then they stick in Guaido and they're doing these things, my first thought was, I remember this story that they were going to try and take out Venezuela. Remember, they tried to take Venezuela out in around 1999, right? Late 90s, early 2000. They were trying to take out Venezuela, and they never did it. All right? And then they went on from there, and they were conquering the Middle East. You guys are going to want to go watch the whole video on this guy. I'm not going to show you the whole video. We're just going to show you maybe 30 seconds or so to make the point. But it's always about the oil. All right? They're trying to stop, like I showed in the last video. They don't want Russia's pipeline to make it all the way through to Europe. They want Israel's. All right? So that's really where all this fighting is. But when you see what's going on down in Venezuela, and we know from him and from others, but from him, we know that the elite, the Illuminati, the behind the scenes people, all right, the New World Order, they have been wanting to take out Venezuela for a long time, again, because of the money, the oil, right? And why would Trump work for them? Why would Trump agree to go and do that? Well, one, for the oil, sure. But America has a ton of oil now, don't they? The biggest problem is Russia and China are down there, right? And now Russia's giving them more weapons. They're bringing in military equipment. They brought in soldiers. So on the outside, it looks like it makes sense. So if the deep state that has been working against Trump, fighting him on everything, says, hey, look, you need to take care of Venezuela. We'll work with you to take care of it. Maybe they'll be a little bit more lenient on Trump on some other things. So he can look at it and say, okay, well, it makes sense because what? Because Russia's down there. We can't have our enemies right at our doorstep. We've got to stop that. We're the ones going to people's doorsteps. The Americans don't have our enemies like this at our doorstep. So is it possible Trump made a deal with the deep state to deal with Venezuela? It's highly likely, right? Because they're all promoting it. Mike Pence, Pompeo, I mean everybody. They're all promoting Guaido in Venezuela over the guy Maduro that was elected again. All right? I'm not saying Maduro's a great guy. That's not what I'm saying. But he was quote-unquote elected down there. And for Americans to suddenly go in after all of the meddling that they've been claiming in America, and now the Americans are going down there and they're completely meddling and throwing in their own guy. I mean, obviously, is this double standard, right? But I'm going to show you this clip that might be able to show us that Trump colluded with the traitors in America. All right? Now, do I think he did it because he thinks he's going to get caught in all of it with the rest? No. I think he's doing it because he sees it as a necessity anyways, because of the enemies of America that are at the back door now. All right? Let me show you this.
Going to be, but there was going to be an event, and out of that event, we were going to invade Afghanistan to run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We were going to invade Iraq, to take over the oil fields, establish a base in the Middle East, and make it all part of the New World Order. And we go after Chavez in Venezuela. And sure enough, later 9/11 happened.
So did you hear that? You can go watch the whole story. This guy died in 2007. This video that we watched, that little clip, you can watch the whole thing, but it was an Alex Jones video that he did with Aaron, probably close to 15 years ago now. All right, 12 to 15 years ago was when he did this video. All right? And what did he say? He was friends with a Rothschild, all right? Now you say, well, how was this guy, for those of you that don't know, how was this guy friends with the Rothschild? Well, the Rothschild wanted to meet him because he was a movie producer, a director, a producer, or something like that. He did Trading Places, a very famous movie from the 80s, right? This one I didn't know very much. Wise Guys he did. So he won Emmy Awards, nominated for Golden Globe, and so forth. All right. So the other thing he was winning 30% in Nevada for governor. All right. So he wasn't just some Joe Blow, and a Rothschild had befriended him. They had had dinners at each other's houses regularly. He was always on one side of the fence. Of course, the Rothschilds on the other, and it's a great video to go watch. But did you see this video? You saw that little clip? That after 9/11, the whole fake 9/11. Now, yes, of course, it happened. Were there actual wars? Did they actually go to war in the Middle East? Yes, of course they did. But the reasons why were induced. All right? Because it could be a never-ending thing and they could remain over there. So why? Well, they want to prevent Russia. They want to keep all the money, right? So that's the same thing going on in Venezuela. And what did he just say? He said then they would go after Venezuela. They wanted to get Chavez. All right? But when they first tried to go in a long time ago, over almost 20 years ago, or about 20 years ago, they failed. And then 9/11 came, and then they went and took care of the Middle East next. And so what are they doing? They're coming back around, and they're going after what? Venezuela. They're going after Venezuela, which means for Trump to have done that, he had to make a deal with the deep state. And all of his guys turned around and sold out with him on it. Do I think they sold out on everything? Or no. But he definitely made a deal with the traders on that one. Listen to this clip. I won't even play it all, just a little bit.
We want to restore Venezuelan democracy, and we believe that the Venezuelan military and its leadership have a vital role to play in this process. If you choose this path, you have the opportunity to help forge a safe and prosperous future for all of the people of Venezuela. Or you can choose the second path, continuing to support Maduro. If you choose this path, you will find no safe harbor, no easy exit, and no way out. You will lose everything. Maduro is not a Venezuelan patriot.
See that? Everybody, they all start applauding. Woo! They have no idea what they're applauding. They're just at a Trump rally. They've just applauded war against Venezuela for the poor people there that just want to live their life and have their power back on and food and so forth. All right? It's the deep state that's been choking them out, and everybody knows that. But now Trump has supported it. Is it possible? Right? Is it possible? There's his listening to the traders. Seems like it to me. Let me show you something else that's going on. We're trying to see now this clearer picture as to where we're at, right? Being at this 40-day time frame from Jerusalem's 71st anniversary. Let me show you something. Israel has always had their elections, like I've said a number of times. They have them in November every 4 years, all right? Kind of like the Americans, not on the same year, but every 4 years in November. However, this year, a lot of people have said that the reason Benjamin Netanyahu called it sooner was because of his legal troubles. And I believe maybe that's partly right, but it's not the whole picture. Because I do believe Netanyahu now wants to stay in power because his buddy Trump is the leader of the free world. All right? He's running America, they'll be running Israel, and they think they could just get everything done and be, tight as can be. But why April 9th? Why April 9th is a very, very interesting choice of dates. Let me show you something. Here's a report. I had this link emailed to me. I was telling you guys earlier from a brother Mark. And you see the date of this? April 4th. And if you look through, you'll see that it came out on the 3rd. So from the 3rd into the 4th, all right, it was put out on the 3rd in some areas and into the 4th on some areas, okay? So right here in this time frame of this 40 days. Listen to what it says. Trump's deal of the century rolls out on Israel's birthday, slapping face to Arabs. Okay, there's a couple things I really want to show you in this. And the first one I'm going to show you is the main reason why they've chosen April 9th. Okay? Let's read a little bit of it here. The planned date, which coincides with Israel's 71st Independence Day, would be a slap in the face, says Hamas official. On Thursday, online reports that President Donald Trump will roll out his long-awaited Middle East peace plan on May 15th, remember 14th, 15th, same thing, which also happens to be Israel's Independence Day. Okay, let's go down a little bit further. Okay, check this out. This is talking about the countries. Now, those who have been following the peace plan a little bit, we know that it's going to be the Arab Gulf states, like it's talking about here. They're going to be the ones that are funding and supporting the Palestinian state until it gets really up and running, whether it's 2 years, 5 years, whatever it is. They're going to be funding probably billions of dollars into it so they can kind of move forward, if you will. All right? Outside, of course, of getting land and other things. They're not getting Jerusalem, but they'll get parts of land and greater parts. Remember, when Trump moved the embassy and he had declared Jerusalem the capital of Israel, he then stated that now Israel, because they've been given and we've taken Jerusalem off the table, it is going to be up to Israel now to give big. All right? They're going to have to give big, but it won't be Jerusalem. Okay? Let's keep reading. According to the report, a Hamas official reacted sharply upon learning the date of the rollout. This is interesting. Setting the date of the declaration on the anniversary of the Nakba, which is probably what I will have something to do in the title of this video, of the Nakba is a slap in the face to all those who still see America as a fair mediator in resolving the conflict. And a Hamas official who said they still see America in quote, this is a quotation, that they still see America as a fair mediator? This is something Hamas said? Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Meaning they're still at the table. They're ready. They're going to be getting a lot, and their language is changing. But what is this language? We'll get to that in a bit, all right? Oh, here it is right here, but I'm going to show you. We'll get into it. The Nakba, I might not be pronouncing it, but the Nakba or catastrophe is the Arabs' term for the establishment of the State of Israel on May 14th, 1948. Now listen to this. Other release dates have been speculated on following the Trump administration's announcement that it would wait until after Israel goes to the polls on April 9th. Some of those dates take into consideration the fact that Israel coalition building can take time after an election. I'm going to show you why they chose April 9th. In Israel, official election results take about a week. Okay? 7 days. Take about a week to get everything processed. The head of the leading party is then asked by the president. All right? The president isn't the number one in Israel. It's the prime minister, all right? But they do have a president as well. Is then asked by the president to form the government and is given 28 days to do so. 28 plus 7 is 35 days. 35 days from April 9th, 2019. Come on, refresh already. Okay? April 9th, 2019, add 35 days. There you go. Here we are again. May 14th, 2019. What article comes out? The article of the deal of the century to be released on May 14th. Now, people could say, well, we've had all these delays. They said that before. They said before Christmas. They said before this. Oh, they may have said before. But everything they've been doing is based for Israel. You see? They've made every time so far work for Israel. Trump may have played it down that he didn't realize, oh, it was for the 70th year. Oh, I didn't realize. No, he knew. He's been working on it for over 35 years. You don't think Trump knows when their birthday is? Half his life he was working on this deal. Of course he knows Israel's birthday. All right? May 14th, they open the embassy. Do you think Trump's going to wait till Israel turns 73? Makes zero sense. It will be at the end of the 70th year that they're going to make that declaration. Now watch this. Remember that word? Remember that word that they're using here? The Nakba or catastrophe. They're all using this word. Look at this. U.S. This is Press TV. U.S. likely to unveil deal of the century on Nakba Day. You heard that, right? You saw that? On Nakba Day. A report says the administration of U.S. President Donald Trump will likely unveil its controversial proposal on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in mid-May on the 71st anniversary of the Nakba Day. The day of catastrophe. Now, do I say that because it's funny because of what's coming? No. It's going to be the hardest time in human history. The beginning of it. I'm laughing because they're putting it in our face. They're telling us. Nakba Day. The day it is declared is Catastrophe Day. Why would Press TV repeat what the Arabs are all saying? What not all the Arabs, but what Hamas type Arabs are saying? Why would they call it Nakba Day? Look, what World Israel News. Israel News. Nakba Day. US 1. Press TV. Nakba Day. The day of catastrophe. Oh, let's take a step further. How about the Middle East Monitor? Trump to reveal deal of the century on the first anniversary of Palestine Nakba. You get it? Look, they're highlighting it everywhere. Nakba Day. On Israel's independence, Nakba Day. Deal of the century on Catastrophe Day. Deal of the century on Catastrophe Day. See? Nakba.
نكبة.
Okay, I'm not pronouncing it right. Okay, but it looks like Nakba means
catastrophe.
Catastrophe. Yes, it does. And what does catastrophe mean? By a dictionary, catastrophe. An event causing great and often sudden damage, suffering, disaster. Synonyms: disaster, calamity, cataclysm, crisis, holocaust. Oh, nice choice in words. Ruin. Ring a bell? Ring a bell? Right? Did we get it? Can we see what they're telling us? For yourselves know perfectly. Have any of us known perfectly yet? Exactly. The scriptures tell us we will know exactly that the day of the Lord so comes as a thief in the night. For when they shall say, and the word say means to what? Set discourse. What does set discourse mean? Begin the tribulation. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction, then sudden Nakba comes upon them. Catastrophe Day. They will not have big celebrations. Oh, they might have things set up. You know, they might celebrate it, right? Some of the Jews are looking to celebrate it on the 5th of Iyar, right? Right here on the 5th of Iyar, right? Because that's when in 1948, the date was the 5th of Iyar. They might have some celebrations, but this one ain't being celebrated. There is no celebrating on that day. Because when they say peace and safety, on the day you yourselves know perfectly, sudden destruction shall come upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they, America, Israel, shall not escape. Is the whole world then going to begin? Yes. It'll take place over the world over, but it will begin in Israel and America as a woman in travail. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pained to be delivered. And pained to be delivered. What is this appearing? Does this appearing come moments before this? Right? This star constellation, right? We see in Luke put forth a single star. What is this? We'll find out soon enough. This is coming. We're potentially 40 days away. 40 days even from when the articles came out. Is this the 40-day sign? I don't think so. Is there some connection to it? What do we know about the 40-day sign? Let me show you something. We don't necessarily know that the 40-day sign hasn't begun, by the way, guys. Maybe it just wasn't for us. Let me show you something. Maybe we're not the shepherds we think we might be. And there were in the same country shepherds. Oh, isn't that interesting? I just saw that. And there were in the same country. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And the angel of the Lord came unto them. All right? And they were sore afraid. And they gave glory. And they said, you'll see a sign. The baby wrapped in swaddling clothing. And then suddenly, there was a multitude of heavenly hosts. All right? And then they go and they see this baby there in Jerusalem in the manger. You see, when we see it even with in Acts chapter 1, all right? To whom also, let's go right here, the commandments, he's talking about the apostles, right? Through the Holy Ghost had given, commandments unto the apostles whom he had chosen, to whom also he showed himself alive after his passion by many infallible proofs, being seen of them. Not of everybody, being seen of them 40 days, and speaking of things pertaining to the kingdom of God. Could this already be happening somewhere on earth with a group of people? Absolutely it can. Absolutely it can. Could the angel of the Lord appear to some shepherds to let them know what's taking place? Absolutely. Maybe it just wasn't us. But we'll find out soon enough, because we'll see the events, we'll see these things that are taking place. You see how crazy that is? Right at that time, right on the full moon count of the Passover, the deal of the century, which we also did a video on based on the movie called Deal of the Century, which was a complete, absolute foreshadow of the deal of the century in the movie. And then war broke. I mean, it was such a wild movie when you watch it with the end time eyes that we have, guys. And the movie came out in 1983. When we spoke about that, remember 1983, we discovered that 1983 was the last Jubilee. That's right. 82 into 83. Just like 2032 into 33 is the final Jubilee year when everything will be restored. All right? How long from now? 14 years. The 15th is the Jubilee. And this came out today. And you have Israeli papers, Jewish papers, American papers, and Muslim papers all using the same words. Nakba or catastrophe. I mean, look at this one. Jeez. The day of catastrophe. On the day that they're going to present the Middle East peace deal, they're calling it Catastrophe Day. For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as a woman, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. they shall not escape. Luke 21:36. One of our favorite ones from the beginning. Let's start at 34. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with the suffering and drunkenness and cares of this life. And so that day come upon you unawares, for as a snare shall it come upon all them that dwell upon the face of the earth, upon the face of the whole earth. Watch ye therefore and pray always, that you may be found, or that you may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. When you see Jerusalem compassed about, know that the desolation thereof is near. Hasn't happened yet, right? We'll see them compassed. We'll still be here when they're compassed. What does that destruction mean in 1 Thessalonians 5? What is that sudden destruction that they won't escape from? Is it war right away? No, I don't believe it's war for America anyways. Not for the they. I think that's the natural disasters. All right. You know, another interesting thing that another sister, I call her 77. Her name's also Tabitha. We got 2 or 3 Tabithas here in the ministry. And she thought this was interesting. We were talking about Smyrna before. And Smyrna being the other tribes, right, that through Dan and that are going to work in seals. And it was very interesting. Why does the church of Smyrna, see, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. But be thou faithful unto death, and you shall receive the crown of life. 10 days. Be what 10 days? 10 days of tribulation. Is it possible, this is just spitballing, is it possible that the 40 days is 10 days in? I mean, that the 40 days begins in 10 days from now. And it goes 10 days into the tribulation. Possible. Possible. You know, it's really hard. I've been trying to figure out this 40 days for a while. Could it be as simple as something we've just witnessed? I still think there's more to it. I truly believe there's more to it. That it's going to be somebody who's going to stand up. All right? But look at these connections, guys. We've known Trump is going to have his first term cut short. We've showed those videos a couple times. Then we find out that as Cyrus in his 3rd year had his throne cut short because he did a deal with traitors. And we can prove to an extent that there was a deal done with traitors, because this plan that these traitors had years and years and years ago planned out, he's now siding with them to get it done. He might be doing it for the right reasons, maybe a combination of both, but he did work with the traitors. He did some sort of deal with the traitors. And then we find out with their April 9th elections, when you do the count, that they have 7 days to check the results, to get them all in and confirmed. Then they're given 28 days to put their government together. It equals the day that they're declaring the peace deal. He didn't want to say the 5th or the 8th. He didn't want to say later in the week and say the 13th. It had to be April 9th. Because April 9th is the day they're putting forward the deal of the century. And who's going to keep his chair? Netanyahu's probably keeping his chair. Trump's there, Netanyahu's there. They're going to work together. They're going to get this done. And Trump, as the judgment, is going to bring forth the catastrophe that he had his son-in-law working so hard at. I believe this son-in-law, I don't believe he's the Antichrist, by the way. I believe he's going to be doing something after Israel is struck and not completely destroyed, we know that, but is destroyed. They're going to be going back and wanting to rebuild while war is broken out over the rest of the world. Because the tribulation will have begun. All right? I think he's going to be involved with the rebuilding. I couldn't believe it when I saw that word. The word means catastrophe. And everything he's done is right on time for Israel. Why? Because Trump is the judgment. All right, guys. I just wanted to share that with you, let you guys see all these things coming together, see these truths that are right there that they're giving us. We know that this peace deal is not going to be presented past May 14th. All right? It is coming. It is coming. Get ready to stand before the Son of Man. I love you guys. God bless you. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.